John Schofield on Facebook asks, what's your favorite movie? That is such a loaded question because I like a lot of different things, so I don't think I can narrow it down to a single movie. Once again, I tend to have a favorite movie for each genre. One of my favorite movies is definitely Jurassic Park. That's an all-time favorite of mine. I think Jurassic Park just has a little bit of everything. It's like, it's intense and it's scary and it's funny and it's cute and the characters are awesome and the special effects kick ass. I love everything about Jurassic Park except for that whole like hacker Unix nonsense. That was kind of dumb. But everything else in that movie I thought was amazing. My favorite like animated movie I guess is The Lion King. I'm a cat lover. I really enjoy Disney movies. I feel like The Lion King was, if not their best, at least it's my personal favorite. Second place would be Aladdin. Sometimes I think I like Aladdin even more than Lion King, but I just feel like The Lion King is more my forte, whatever. My favorite comedy is The Full Monty. My favorite chick flick, and I don't mean chick flick in a derogatory way. When I think of a chick flick, I just think of a movie that's aimed at women. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to have like Meg Ryan in it or be a dumb romantic comedy or whatever. For me, a chick flick is a movie that's aimed at women. Anyway, my favorite chick flick is The Joy Luck Club. I'm trying to be a little bit brief because I'm mentioning so many movies. I don't want to talk about any of them too much. Oh, I haven't even mentioned a horror movie. Shit. The Fly would be up there with one of my favorite horror movies because it's not just a good horror movie, it's actually a good movie overall. One of the very few horror movies out there where the ending makes me cry. So yeah, The Fly is a fantastic movie. I'm talking about the remake with Jeff Goldblum in it. Also really love Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I guess I better stop because I know there's probably some really great ones I'm forgetting, but I don't want to sit here all day and name off 20 movies when the question was what's my favorite movie. Unfortunately, I don't have a single one. I also love Child's Play 2. That's one of my favorite horror movies. Anyway, that's enough of the movie topic. Speaking of movies, Movie Man on DeviantArt asks, how did you become a fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? What is your story exactly? Okay, yeah, I'm a brony Pegasus or whatever you want to call it. I love My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. There, I said it, you know, big deal, whatever. Deal with it if you don't like it. Everybody seems to have their own like coming out story where how they discovered the show and how they came to terms with the fact that they love a show about colorful ponies aimed at little girls. And my story isn't really all that interesting. I just sort of I think Lee discovered the show before I did, and I think he discovered it through the internet, just all the memes going around. I remember him telling me, you know that new My Little Pony show, it's actually really good. I'm like, really? And I just sort of like, God, I think really Lee got into it before I did. I would be getting ready for work in the morning and he would be watching My Little Pony and I would catch it and I'd be like, oh my God, this is so funny and awesome. And I think eventually I just got to where I was watching it every Saturday morning and it grew on me really fast. I'm trying to think of the first episode I ever watched on my own on Saturday morning. It might have been Sisterhood Social, which is appropriate because my favorite pony is Rarity, so I don't know, I'm being a little bit disjointed here, but yeah, I am a fan of My Little Pony. I think it's awesome. If you've never watched it, you know, give it a shot. It's not going to kill you, and you know, if you end up liking it, so what? You like something that's not in your demographic. 90% of the stuff I like isn't in my demographic. You know, Transformers was not made for me. Horror movies are not made for me. Why should I make an exception for something that's aimed at little girls, you know? So what? You know, demographic is a marketing term. It doesn't matter. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, if you've never watched it, you know, just give it a chance. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But don't pass up on it just because it's aimed at little girls. You're missing out. Or you might be missing out on something you might end up really liking. But yeah. There's my reaction to My Little Pony right there, I guess. I'm going to assume this one's a joke. Jason Dean Henderson on Facebook asks, how do you and Lee balance your real lives with the pressures of internet celebrity. We are so not internet celebrities, it's not even funny. I don't know why you would even ask me that. I don't have people stopping me on the street or anything. The only time I've ever had people recognize me is at MagFest. And that's only because they were probably there to see other people from that guy with the glasses. So, you know, I mean, yeah, a lot of people at MagFest recognize me, but that's it. I mean, there's nothing to balance. I don't exactly have people, you know, beating a path to my door and bugging me for my autograph and, you know, in everyday situations. It's just not how it is. Yeah, I'm not an internet celebrity. That's my answer to that question. Farrell, I think this was asked on Twitter. He asks, when did you start drawing and did it ever seem to fall in big conflict with video making? Oh boy, when did I start drawing? I've been drawing since I was a little kid. It's just, it was just one of those things. Sometimes when you're a kid, you just take to something, and I really took to drawing, and I've been drawing all my life. It's just something I've always done. Did it fall in conflict with video making? Yeah, back when I was making videos more often and spending all my free time on it, my progress with my artwork just kind of fell by the wayside, and I was working on videos all the time and I was not doing any drawing. Now I'm trying to balance them a little bit more. Christian Christianov on Facebook asks, I wonder if you can recommend some good horror games, and when I say good, I don't mean Amnesia, aka Mindless Jump Scare the Game. I'm talking about early Silent Hill good. Those were his words, not mine. I've never played Amnesia. I assume he means Cerebral. I want to recommend the first Resident Evil game, because actually the first Resident Evil game, and I think I mentioned this when I did my Let's Play on it, it's actually surprisingly effective with its scares. It does have jump scares, but it's also has this whole kind of foreboding atmosphere, and I actually think it's nice and creepy. I actually think it's a really good game. But yeah, it's not, Resident Evil is not what I call cerebral, but I did think it had a really good atmosphere. I actually have not played very many survival horror games outside of Silent Hill. One that's kind of unique is D, which came out on Sega Saturn and I think 3DO. I think that was the other platform, but yeah, it's called D. That one was interesting. It's a lot different, and I think I recall it being cerebral. I haven't played it in ages. It's actually, the game has a 2-hour time limit on it, and I would love to do a Let's Play. I would love to like knock off a really quick Let's Play on it. Maybe someday I'll do that. I really cannot think of very many horror games I've played outside of Silent Hill. Frame 2 a little bit, and that game scared the crap out of me. I actually had to stop playing it because it was too scary. I was living alone at the time, and I meant to wait until Lee was going to be moving in with me soon, so I put the game on hold until then. Then by the time he moved in with me, I just sort of forgot about it and I never got back to it. But I also really enjoy, I recently, as in like a couple of years ago, I played Clock Tower on PlayStation. I enjoyed that one a lot. It's kind of jump scare-ish, but it feels like, it's like an interactive slasher film, the way it plays out, and it's sort of, I guess it's kind of like the original Resident Evil. It has a nice foreboding atmosphere. It's not terribly cerebral, again, but yeah, that's all I got. Sorry, I really haven't played a whole lot of horror games outside of Silent Hill. I do intend to change that. I played Alan Wake a little bit. For some reason I stopped playing it and never got back to it, but I did enjoy it while I was playing it, so I don't know that I can recommend it because I didn't get very far in it before I put it down, but yeah, I've actually misplaced Alan Wake. I really want to get back to it really bad. Also, Deadly Premonition was kind of fun, and what was interesting was watching Twin Peaks. After playing Deadly Premonition, realizing how much Deadly Premonition is inspired by Twin Peaks. So yeah, I guess there were some half recommendations thrown in there. Deadly Premonition is another one I didn't play a whole lot before I put it down, but again, I do like it. I do plan to get back to it. Mickey16 on DeviantArt asked, what is your favorite art to make? Would it be fan art, fan fiction, animation, or your original series, The Cybercats? First of all, thank you for mentioning Cybercats. I appreciate that. a quick explanation, Cybercats is an original idea for a comic book I'm working on. It was sort of, it's inspired by Transformers and a whole lot of other stuff from the 80s, like Cybercats and He-Man and She-Ra, and it's also inspired by X-Men somewhat, and it's just sort of a superhero genre comic book. Takes place in the future. Cats have evolved into shape-shifting cat people, and they have metal skin, and they vaguely resemble Voltron lines because Voltron was another influence. But yeah, that's what Cybercats is. It's an idea I'm working on. It's still very much in its planning stages, but yeah, that's what Cybercats is. I use Cybercat as a username a lot too. So in case you wonder what Cybercat is, that's what it is. My favorite art to make. That's kind of a loaded question because I actually really enjoy doing different forms of art. I have not done very much fan fiction. My only fan fiction I've done is my novelization I wrote of Silent Hill 4, which I finally finished, by the way. I think I said I was going to make a video about that and I didn't when it was done, but it is done. I'll try to post a link at the bottom. But yeah, I wrote a novelization of Silent Hill 4, and that's about all the fan fiction I've written, really. I'm not very good at coming up with original stories, so unless it's a novelization, it's kind of hard for me to handle. Favorite art to make. I kind of enjoy doing My Little Pony fan art. The way I do it is I draw them to look the way they do on the show, and then I ink and color in my own personal style. I like to put a lot of details in the hair. And those are kind of fun to do, and they're fairly quick and easy to do. What else? Animation, I've only really done 3D animation. I can't, or at least I don't want to try doing 2D animation. It seems a little too tedious for me, but I kind of do enjoy animating 3D characters. What do I enjoy the most out of these, though? It's kind of hard to tell because I do so many different types of art, and I like to vary my subject matter, and I like to switch back, and I like to switch it up a little bit, and it's hard to pick a favorite. I definitely enjoy doing Cybercats because lately I've been going through and nailing down the character designs, and that's a good thing to do because it helps me to get to a point where I can actually work on the comic book. So that's not much of an answer. I don't know what my favorite art to make is. I guess anything that involves drawing, because drawing is kind of my strong point when it comes to art and anything creative. So that was really vague. I'm sorry. I don't know how to answer that really. I like doing a lot of different stuff. Persian Alchemist also on DeviantArt asks, how did you and Lee meet? This is really geeky. We both used to post on the GameFAQs message boards, and we both belonged into there was sort of a community on the GameFAQs message board, just a handful of us that just sort of got together and we were posting on a hidden board. If you went to GameFAQs message board back in the day, you know what that is. If you don't, I'm not even gonna bother explaining it. But anyway, we both belonged to that little group, and early on in the year, I think he added me on what was it, MSN Messenger, I think was the instant messenger I was using at the time, and he added me on there and said, oh hey, it's so and so from GameFAQs, blah blah blah, you know, I thought I'd add you so we could talk. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't really know him that well at the time, and I think about 2 months went by before he finally messaged me and struck up a conversation with me, and I believe that happened on February 1st of that year. And it just kind of went from there. It started off as a long distance relationship. He was in Memphis, I was in Sacramento, and you know, we eventually we got to where we were visiting each other like once a couple times a year. We would have a week-long visit, and eventually he moved to California to be with me, and we've been living together ever since. So there you go. Yeah, but basically, how did we meet? We met on GameFAQs message boards. So yeah, that's about the most gamer geekiest answer I can give, but it's true. So there you go. Yeah, we met on GameFAQs. Go figure. I'm not sure where this was asked. It might be Twitter. Shadow Dancer 21B, who I know him from all over the internet anyway. So He asks, will you do a special video for Halloween? I cover Silent Hill videos every year on it. No, I actually don't know if he means the holiday. Does Halloween count as a holiday? Whatever. I don't know if he means that Halloween, or does he mean the movie Halloween? Will I cover Halloween on the Film Den? If that's the question, probably eventually. Halloween. I forgot to mention this. I was talking about my favorite. My favorite movies. Actually, Halloween is another favorite of mine. I watch it every year and I love it. Yeah, Halloween is one of my favorite movies. I probably will cover it on the Film Den eventually. I don't know when. Ideally I should cover it in October, but I'm always covering Silent Hill stuff in October, so we'll see. Maybe if I run out of Silent Hill stuff to cover in October, maybe I'll do Halloween. Or it doesn't have to be done in October, but you know, it'd be preferable, I guess. Bobby Powell on Facebook asks, what kind of videos are you going to release next, and when will you release these videos? Kind of answered that already. So Trent Seeley on Facebook asks, when you were a kid, what kind of games did you play? Have they had an effect on what you play now? When I was a kid, the only games available were on the Atari 2600. So, yeah, that's why I do Pixels as Big as Cats. It's a big nostalgia trip for me. Yeah, when I was a kid, I played Atari 2600 games like Adventure, Pac-Man, which sucked, E.T., which sucked, Space Invaders, you know, Atari 2600 games. I wouldn't say that it has an effect on what I play now too much. I'm probably maybe a little more open to simple 8-bit puzzle type games than maybe other gamers would be, just because in the era that I started playing games, that's all that we had. So, yeah. Matthew John Jonas on Facebook asks, if you could combine any two survival horror games make the crossover games something other than survival horror, what horror games would you combine and what genre would you choose? Oh my god! I do not know how to answer that. Two survival horror games. I assume they can't be the same franchise. I guess combining Resident Evil and Silent Hill might be interesting. What other genre? Crap. I don't know how to answer that. I'm God, that's the most creative question I got, and I swear I don't know how to answer it. How about like Pyramid Head and Nemesis playing racquetball or something? There we go. That's my answer. Okay. Well, that hurt my brain. Rose Guardian 5, I believe this was on DeviantArt, asked, if there's one series, movie, or game that you feel doesn't receive enough credit or love, what is it and why? I guess I would say Silent Hill doesn't receive a lot of love. Well, actually, you know what? Movie or... You know what? I don't have to go with the whole franchise. Game that doesn't receive enough credit or love, Silent Hill Shattered Memories. It irks me like no tomorrow when people say that they say all the post-Team Silent games suck, and I completely understand hating Origins and Homecoming. I do think those two games had good things about them, but I don't know. To me, Shattered Memories was a masterpiece, and I wish more people would appreciate it. I hate when people lump all the new Silent Hill games all together in one category and say they all suck. I wonder if those people didn't really give the games a fair chance sometimes. But yeah, Shattered Memories, man. Shattered Memories, I love that game. I seriously, I would put it up there with Silent Hill 2 for quality of story. The gameplay mechanics were but story-wise, I would put up there with Silent Hill 2. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It makes me a little bit sad that more people don't appreciate it. Finally getting towards the end here. I think this was the only question I got on Fur Affinity. Farrell asks, how long does it usually take to make a video? Depends on the video. I can knock out an episode of Pixels as Big as Cats in like 1 or 2 weeks. The Game Den can take me up to a month or two. My Silent Hill Game Dens, I try to start working on those in August. so that I can I spend August gathering all the footage, and in September writing the scripts and getting stuff ready, and doing the filming, and as much of the editing as I can. Throughout October I finish them up. That's usually how it works. But it really depends on what I'm covering. I think the quickest video I ever made was my top 10 music videos. Top 10 favorite music videos list. I actually knocked that one out in a week, and that one was really easy because all I had to do was download all the videos from YouTube, and they were short to begin with. I just had to edit each one down to no longer than 2 minutes, and that was one of the easiest videos I've done that was not pixels as big as cats. It makes me want to do more top 10 lists, to be honest. But anyway, I'm starting to run out of tape, so I gotta wrap up here. I have 2 more questions left. Freak NR1 on DeviantArt asks, with several of your videos and your podcast, you have been pretty synonymous with horror. What exactly is your relationship in history with horror? In other words, what made you a horror fan? That's a good question. A lot of people I know who are horror fans have been absolutely desensitized to horror since they were a kid. And I actually was a total wuss when it comes to horror movies when I was a kid. My mom and it's funny because my mom used to watch horror movies. I think that's kind of what helped me get into it. My mom would watch horror movies and I would hide in my bedroom. It wasn't until maybe junior high that I finally started to get into horror, and I started with there's a kind of an obscure Stephen King movie called Cat's Eye, and it's PG-13 rated horror movie actually, and it was a anthology movie, and it's very, very tame as horror goes, but it's interesting. And of course, what ties all the 3 stories in was this cat, and I've always loved cats ever since I was a little kid, and that's what got me. And even when I was a kid, I think I liked this movie. Some parts of it were a little too intense for me, but generally I loved it. And I think it gradually kind of encouraged me to read more Stephen King, and I started watching the Stephen King movies that were kind of revolved around animals. I think Stephen King's an animal lover. He has bad things happen to animals, but I notice he has animals as main characters sometimes. So I watched Cujo and Pet Sematary, and I read those books, and it just sort of branched out from there. And I think around the same time the Nightmare on Elm Street movies were really popular. And I think just the media being so saturated with Freddy Krueger, I think the character just sort of grew on me, and I gradually started watching those. And actually Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie I ever watched. So, because that's just the one that had just come out during the time I was getting into horror movies. So that's one of the reasons why Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is one of my favorites. I do think it's one of the best in the series, but also it just kind of has a nostalgic factor for me because it's helped me get into horror movies. So there you go. It's kind of Stephen King. Stephen King's more tame material combined with stuff that's sort of goofy like Nightmare on Elm Street, and that stuff sort of got me to gradually get into horror. Last question. Rio, I believe on Twitter, asked, ooh, thunder. I have a question for you. Have you ever gotten the chance to play Siren, and if you did, what are your thoughts on it? I actually have not played Siren. I really, really need to, because some of the former members of Team Silent got together and made this game, and I've heard it's very Silent Hill-like, and it seems to fall into the love it or hate it category. I know a lot of people say it's great, and a lot of other people have said it's awful. So, yeah, but I definitely want to play it. I actually did. I'm getting thirsty. I did manage to acquire a copy recently. I have not yet played it, but I really need to. That is the last question. So finally I can wrap this up. My voice is starting to go, so I have to wrap this up. Thank you to everybody who watched, who asked questions. Thank you for watching. This was kind of interesting to do. I would like to do it again if I get asked questions enough. So if you have any questions for me you want me to answer, post it in the comments section, ask me on Facebook, just wherever you see this video posted, just post the question there. Hopefully I'll see it, and I'll you know, compile another list of questions, you know, assuming I get questions again, and I'll do this again. If not, whatever. If not, it was a fun one-off thing to do. So so that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.